So there are a few things I learned from tonight's game. One, never allow the game to be put in the hands of the refs, i.e. don't blow a big lead and have the game come down to the wire where the refs are put in situations to make calls and then overturn said calls because Grayson Allen throws a tantrum that he was fouled, but more on that in a little bit. I learned that Alex Caruso and his impact is so much greater than we initially thought as the momentum of the game completely shifted after he picked up his 4th personal in the 3rd quarter, which was such a ticky-tack foul. Again, don't let the refs control the game and change the momentum. And then also don't tweet about a player mid-game like I did, where I clowned Kevin Durant when he got off to such a cold start and was bricking up shots about how he thinks he should be in the GOAT conversation, something that he said recently. I think it was just a couple days ago that he reported on a podcast. Just don't do that. Wait until the game is over, because Kevin Durant literally took over and started looking like MJ out there and willing the Suns back into this game and securing the win. But look, what's crushing about this loss is that these are the types of games that are the defining moments in changing the trajectory of a season, which I know it sounds dramatic, but hear me out for a second. You look at how great the Bulls were playing to start this game. They played an incredible first quarter. They were playing with pace, getting fast break points, turning defense into offense, hitting threes like there was nothing to it. Everything was flowing. And my biggest question after the first quarter was, well, okay, great first quarter, but can the Bulls sustain this? Can they keep this up? And going into the second quarter, they looked even better, making the Suns pay with their slow defensive effort, crashing the glass and getting second chance opportunities. And wouldn't you know it, it even continued into the third quarter. The Bulls had a commanding lead halfway through the third, which is odd because usually the Bulls, a lot of times when they come out of the locker room, they struggle. And a team gets off to a hot start in the third quarter and the Bulls have blown leads in that quarter. And for the Bulls, who we all know have been playing much better recently, they've won 2 in a row, and you come into Phoenix and take care of one of the hottest teams in the NBA, you're now looking at 3 wins in a row in which you're only 1 game below 500, and you're off to play 2 struggling teams in the Lakers and the Blazers and getting considerable rest between those games. If the Bulls leave Phoenix with a commanding win, you're riding all that confidence in the world, and if you pick up a win in LA and Portland, you're suddenly riding a 5-game winning streak above 500 and coming back to the United Center. Instead, now you're having it be a situation in which it's a season-defining game on the other side, a game that you had for the taking but blew a big lead, lost it, and it hits your confidence drastically. That said though, despite the Bulls losing a big lead in that stretch between halfway through the third quarter and halfway to start the fourth, where the Bulls were just falling apart, this was still an incredible game, a nail-biting back and forth game in crunch time, and a game in which the Bulls, despite falling apart, could have just folded and let the Suns take an easy win. But they buckled up and gave the Suns a ride in those final minutes. Like I mentioned this in the prior video, the Bulls in clutch time are one of the better teams in the NBA, and they're the best defensive team in the league in clutch minutes. And despite the Kevin Durant heroics in this one, the Bulls should have, and I say should have, closed this one out, closing out a game in which they had lost all momentum, because let's be real, I don't know how you can say with a straight face looking at that one shot by DeMar that would have put the Bulls up 4, that somehow that was an offensive foul. Like, we never got a good explanation on that unless I'm just missing it. Was it a push off on the initial post up? Because that's not when the whistle came. On the way down, Allen clearly got him on the body and on the arm. Yeah, DeMar might have hooked his arm a little on the follow through, but how is that an offensive foul when the shot was already taken and the shot was already made? And that follow-through would have no bearing on impeding Allen's ability to play defense there. Like, unless you slap the player in the face coming down off a shot and it's clearly intentional, which I would have loved to see DeMar do on Allen, by the way, but in absence of an obvious intentional follow-through like that, that's a basketball play that doesn't impact the player's ability to defend the shot. Just a garbage call. And I'm actually surprised I didn't see more Bulls beat writers talking about this. Maybe I'm just missing something and the call was more clear and it actually should have been overturned, but I just don't see how that could have possibly been an offensive foul on DeMar DeRozan. And of course, on the ensuing possession, Kevin Durant scores to put the Suns back up, so you're talking about a 5-point swing from that overturned call. Just brutal. The other questionable call is on that final possession with 1.6 seconds left, in which they lobbed it to Patrick Williams to try to tap it in. He gets fouled, but they don't call it a shooting foul. Not really sure how that's not a shooting foul when he's clearly going up to put it in. I guess their contention was, well, he was fouled prior to the attempt, which is why they put all the time back on the clock, but I still didn't understand how that didn't end up becoming a shooting foul when Pat got his hands on the ball and was trying to make a play at the rim. But the questionable officiating aside, at the end of the day, the Bulls shouldn't have found themselves in this position where they're fighting on the final possession, not when they were ahead by more than 20 points in the third quarter. Credit to the Suns for turning it up a gear and Kevin Durant going ballistic and getting back into the game, and credit to the Bulls to keep fighting in this one in the final 5 minutes in a back and forth effort and doing everything they could to try and stop Kevin Durant. But Durant was on one tonight, and when he's on one, there just really isn't much you can do. Like the Bulls, their great defense on KD, even in that possession where he hit a shot with 1.6 seconds left, the Bulls defended that well. Durant had to do a double pump on the shot to avoid Alex Caruso from blocking it. That's just great offense, and not much the Bulls can do about it. Patrick Williams could have been better on KD though in that run that the Suns went on. I mean, Pat was making it way too easy for Kevin Durant to score, and it's why the Bulls finally had to start switching Alex Caruso on him in those final minutes. But this loss is also unfortunate because the Bulls actually played a great all-around game, with the exception of that stretch where the Suns got back into it, of course. And my hope is that the Bulls will be able to shake this one off and build on how they played when going up against the Lakers and the Blazers, because this was one of the best offensive games I've seen from the Bulls all season. The most high-octane, fast-paced offense and ball movement we've seen from them all year. Hell, DeMar didn't even take a shot until the second quarter because he didn't even need to. Everyone was getting involved. The Bulls were shooting lights out from three, and even though they cooled off, they were still 14 from 37 from deep in this game. They shot 48% from the field, 25 assists. They out-rebounded the Suns 47-39, 14 offensive rebounds, 15 fast break points compared to the Suns' 6, 22 points off turnovers. They beat the Suns in the points in the paint. I mean, there were so many things the Bulls did right in this game, but just crumbled after Alex Caruso got that fourth foul. AC had a career high in threes tonight, went 5 for 11 from 3, 15 points, and had 3 blocks in this game. Coby White, so close to his first career triple-double, 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, was so efficient on offense, 10 for 14, hitting big shots, but also getting guys involved and facilitating on offense. And don't forget his 2 steals either. Vucevic also almost had a triple-double. Dude outworked Nurkic tonight, 19 points, 17 rebounds, 7 assists. Vuce just cannot hit from 3, man. He's been so bad shooting it from deep despite getting wide open looks too. But DeMar 21 points, Patrick Williams 13, Io 13 points. Very well-rounded, balanced scoring night from the Bulls. Just unfortunate that they couldn't pull this one out at the end. Wasn't a fan of that final shot, by the way. That one after the Pat foul, DeMar kind of just throwing up a heave, one-legged while contested. Not the best look, even though it almost went in. But what are you going to do there? Not a lot of time, and you couldn't run the same play as before. Anyway, the Bulls fall. They're now 21-24. They're still in a good position in that 9th spot in the East, especially with the Hawks about to lose to the Kings. Bulls are off until Thursday. Fair amount of rest. I'll have some content out between now and then. Until then, guys, as always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.